Alright guys, what's going on? Nick here. I'm going to be doing my first review video here. We're going to be reviewing the Metal Gear Solid HD collection for the Xbox 360. This is going to be 3 parts. Today we're going to be looking at Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty for the Xbox 360, the HD version. This game was published by Konami, developed by Kojima Productions. It was released right around 2004, 2005-ish, probably a little bit after that. Not really too sure, don't remember that far. It was released for the PlayStation 2. I remember picking this game up when it first came out and absolutely loved it. Looking at it today, graphics are still PlayStation 2-ish, not the best graphics I would say, but it looks pretty good in HD. Of course, here we got the little menu here. Looked at the special options, are still what you would expect PlayStation 2 wise. Controls, little getting used to. Definitely different than PlayStation 2 controller. You got the left trigger, right trigger, left button, right button, and then the 2 control sticks. Right control stick really obviously doesn't do anything. Left stick, obviously, as you can see from some gameplay footage here, moves them around. Y is the action button. It pretty much lets you do everything. X is the crouch and roll button. You got the X button that chokes when you don't have a weapon, or fires your weapon when you do have it. One thing I do love, they kept a little comedy back in here. Raiden runs over the bird poo and slips and falls. They still got the grip levels in here, so you can do some pull-ups and get your grip level up in the higher levels. You can hold on longer. Forgot to mention the square button. Or the B button, I should say. Still worried about the PlayStation controls here. The B button is the punch button. Y button, obviously, again, is the action button. And the A button is for your crouching and your rolling. Again, graphics look pretty good in HD. But again, they're substandard for today's graphics. The voiceovers are still pretty good. They're pretty good for today's standards. Playing this a little bit, obviously, you know, this is gameplay footage taken from a saved game of mine. Is right after you beat the tanker incident with Solid Snake, and you're playing as Raiden, one of the new characters that they have in the game. Still a new guy. For those of you who have picked up Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance recently, this is the same guy that you play as. He's just kind of learning the ropes here.
Colonel, I've located the node, but it's under heavy surveillance. I can't get in any closer.
One thing I have noticed playing through this game back then and today that they could have fixed, they really should have fixed. I have noticed that the voiceovers really don't match the lips very well. You would think that all the technology that they have today, and even that they had back then, you know, they'd be able to match up voiceovers better than they would, you know, that they do now.
Don't leave him lying around. Hide the body as soon as possible. When his comrades come back from the roof.
The one thing that
if they do find him, they'll be on the alert.
that I do love about this is with these codec parts, they still left in that you can skip them by pressing the X button.
This is how to do it.
I love how they're able to do that, you know. Altogether, this there's not a whole lot of change between this one and the PlayStation 2 version. Obviously, there's not going to be a whole lot of change. Their biggest thing is just making it HD. But, you know, good games like this deserve an HD remake of it. Of course, with this one, the biggest one that I'm looking for, well, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I played the demo for it. Still haven't picked it up yet. I've got to go pick it up. I am looking forward to Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, or Ground Zero, however they pronounce it. It's supposed to be releasing here in the near future. And then you also got your first-person view. You got to hit the right button. That is the button right over the right trigger there. Obviously, those who play Xbox, you should know that already. Yeah, again, it's been a while since I played this, so definitely jumping back into it was interesting to
watch your back. That's
to see.
A type of UAV.
Definitely took some time to get used to the control scheme there.
To set up an interference field. That'll knock its sensors offline for a while. Try to locate some chaff. You can also destroy the.
But for right now, everything just looks pretty decent. HD graphics again, beautiful. So for a minute here, why don't we just sit back and watch you play?
As I said before, they need to be kept in the dark about our presence.
So we just listen in.
I'm patching it through.
This is Alpha Zero. We have the president. Is he safe? He is safe. What about the package? Tell the guys upstairs that we've secured the package. Easy money. Good work. Your retrieval is on the way. Come on home. Roger that. Holy! Alpha Zero, report. Damn it, cover the president! Come in, Alpha Zero. This is Alpha Zero. We're under attack. This is crazy.
Something to note, just for those that haven't played it or haven't seen it before. Basically, the synopsis of the game is about 4 years after the Shadow Moses incident from Metal Gear Solid, the original Metal Gear Solid. The blueprints for Metal Gear has gone onto the black market, and several people have purchased them. Well, there have been new units and new designs that have come out, and in this particular game, the design that you're going to be playing against is called Metal Gear Ray. And Metal Gear Ray is going to be an amphibious version of the Metal Gear weapon. And what has happened is when you play through the tanker stage, you play as Solid Snake, and the objective is to just take pictures of the new Metal Gear Ray that the Marines have developed, and that way your friend Otacon, who is Hal Hemrick, if you remember him from Metal Gear Solid, they're going to try and put these pictures out on the internet. That way they can basically show the public what's really going on when it comes to the new weapons that are being developed, not only through the black market by different terrorist groups, but also with our own government. And what happens is Revolver Ocelot, who also, if you remember, got his arm cut off, had Liquid Snake's arm, the boss from Metal Gear Solid, had his arm grafted onto his arm. That way he had his arm back. Well, apparently Liquid still lives on through this arm, and occasionally, from time to time, you will see Revolver Ocelot being taken over by Liquid Snake. And what had happened is Revolver Ocelot and a number of Russian mercenaries, led by Sergei Gulukovich, had taken over this tanker that Snake was on to steal Metal Gear Ray. Well, Colonel Galukovich assumed that what was going to happen was they were going to take it back so Russia can become a superpower again. That is not necessarily the case. What Ocelot was going to do was take it back for President, who is the president now, who is actually Solid Snake, the third clone, or the second brother of Solid Snake. And basically what happens is when Revolver Ocelot sees Solid Snake on the tanker, when he's getting ready to take Metal Gear, Liquid Snake takes over his body and starts talking to his brother. So essentially, what happens is Revolver Ocelot / Liquid Snake uses Metal Gear Ray and destroys the tanker. Well, to keep this from being blown out of proportion, the government decides to say, okay, well, it's an oil tanker that got destroyed, and so there's crude oil all over the New York harbor. And what they're going to do is they make what they call a big shell. And what it is it's an offshore cleaning facility. But it has a secondary purpose. And I'm not going to spoil the purpose for you for those who haven't played it. But basically, a group of terrorists known as Dead Cell take over. And when they take over, the president is on board this cleanup facility. So you, as the new character Raiden, have to essentially infiltrate this place and rescue the president, rescue all the hostages. But while you're doing that, you learn the true meaning, well, not necessarily true meaning, but you realize what exactly is going on, what and everything that's that's happening in this place. So essentially what you're looking at is a very, very good storyline. I do love the storyline. That's probably one of my favorite aspects of this game. And stealth, by far, it's one of those games where you absolutely have to use stealth. You cannot win in a one-on-one fight, because if you try to take them on in a one-on-one fight, there's going to be more than one against you. And that's one of the things that I loved in general about the Metal Gear series. Even to the very first Metal Gear that appeared on the Nintendo Entertainment System way back, in 1987, it really, really focused on stealth, and that is the one thing that I loved. Now, that's not to say that this game doesn't have its parts where you take on, several enemies at one time. But, clearly, as you can see from my gameplay here, doesn't work a whole lot. And, along his adventures here, Raiden, runs into several characters that you might remember. Roy Campbell, obviously the Colonel from Metal Gear Solid that helped Solid Snake. But you run into some new characters as well, like Rosemary. If you haven't seen Rosemary yet, you're going to run into Rosemary. Rosemary is basically Raiden's girlfriend. But she's not Raiden's girlfriend. Essentially what it is Rosemary is bluffing Raiden, trying to keep Raiden close. She actually works for the Lalelulelo, who are also known as the Patriots. And essentially what the Lalelulelo is a group of people who act sort of like the Illuminati. If you've never heard of the Illuminati, basically what the Illuminati is a group of people that run the country behind a curtain.
Jack, are you okay?
And that's essentially what this game is telling a story of. It's their version of
It was a close one, though.
Oh,
how they see if the Illuminati exists. I'm not saying that they do. I'm not saying that they don't. Personally, I don't really care. But this is their telling of what they think goes on behind the curtains of this country. And really, it's a very good story. Altogether, I would say personally, for me, I would give this game, based on the graphics, the HD, the storyline, the gameplay itself, the controls. Ultimately, for me, this game gets an 8 out of 10. And again, the only reason why it gets an 8 out of 10 for me is because, again, with the technology that they have today, they really could have updated these graphics. They really could have made it a little bit more smoother. They could have made it looking a little bit better. Again, as you can see with my gameplay here, I'm not really doing very well stealth-wise. But again, other than that, this game really is flawless, for a better term. And it's another thing I enjoy about that. You can actually knock guys over the railing here. Obviously doing my best not to get killed, so. But, yeah, as I said before, if you get caught by a guy, you're pretty much, it's not going to be a one-on-one fight. So, here we are at another cutscene. We're going to be meeting the first of many Dead Cell enemies. The main terrorist of the groups. I believe this one's name is Vamp. He's kind of I guess a hybrid vampire knife wielder. I don't know, really, he's a dork, but I can't say a whole lot about it. He's messy. I can say that much. He's very, very messy. Apparently, he likes his job way too much. So, yeah. Basically, there's not a whole lot more I can say about this game. I love it. It's a classic to me. I've been a big fan of the Metal Gear series, again, since the first one came out on the NES, way back in '87. And I hope they continue to make more Metal Gears as the years come by. So be on the lookout for my next video. We're going to be looking at Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater HD next time. And until then, I will let you finish watching my gameplay. See you later.
today. Or rather, 6.
Get down! Where is he?
Strange smell. You smell like... Are you?
It has to be. Shoot him! What are you waiting for?
Sam,
Yeah, Queen?
are you all done cleaning up?
Yes, but wait till I tell you what I found.
Something interesting?
I'll tell you in person. Where are you?
In the central unit with the president.
Be right there.
Hold on. I'm not an enemy. Calm down. My name is Pliskin. Iroquois Pliskin. Lieutenant Junior Grade.
Are you a Navy SEAL? How did you get in?
Fast rope descent from a Navy chopper.
Have I seen you before?
That suit. Are you Foxhound?
That's right.
Foxhound was disbanded. Huh? Where were you before Foxhound? Delta Force?